Hello and welcome to episode 3, and in this episode we're going to be doing the construction of the bow. You've probably noticed I'm at a bar having a beer, so cheers, enjoy. Okay, so I've got the bow and the transom marked out now. There's the transom, and I've just got these weights holding it while I put the curve on. And then I can do the same on the other side here. I've got the pins in, put the ruler in, and then put the curve on the other side. Now originally on the bow I've gone for this design with a wooden frame. It's not very clear on the drawing because it's showing that the seat sits at this level, and that means it's only got this area here to sit on, so it kind of step in and then come out at an angle. It isn't very clear on the drawing. So what I've done, I've changed this part of the framework here from this to this. So I've put the original bow piece in front, and I've decided to intersect these points here at the bottom and put an extra piece in. So note that this piece here has been angled so that if it rains or gets any water in, it's not going to sit, because the bow does sit slightly forward. So I've tapered that off. I've also got to taper this off for the angle of the seat, and that's the seat line there where that pencil mark is. And it'll be good, it'll be strong, but I wish it was a bit clearer on the drawing of what you're supposed to do. We could have done with a picture coming from that way. I've also bought a 10mm eye bolt, and I've got a nice thick stainless plate there. I'm going to drill a hole into that, and then that should be nice and strong and secure for towing. Okay, so I've got the bow section here, and of course we've got all the frames, the frame part all marked out, which will now be, instead of being a card one, we'll actually use the bow as the pattern to cut out the pieces to go around. But before I do that, there's a cutback of where there's some 1/4 knee panels that go in, so it's the same on the other side. And when I bring this timber up, it'll just come to here, because there'll be another framework going there, plus the thickness of the ply. As you can see here, I've drilled and countersinked some of the holes for the screws to go in, to hold the wooden frame in. There's the wooden framing. It's a dry fit at the minute. And the other thing is there is, I've cut back here from the edge, and I've also cut halfway in that way, so I've left about 1/4 on. So when these go into the jig and I start pulling the top planks round, I want to maintain this. But if I end up fitting the planks with them in, I want to make it easier to cut out, because here on this side, this is where the rebate is, and this is for one of the quarter knees. So that's the reason why behind that. So the one that will go in that side will obviously be the same, and also on the transom. The other thing is that there's a doubler that goes on the outside, and on the drawing it comes along and it comes around, and then there's a hole, and I think that's to scull the boat, yes, from the bow. John, if you're watching this, can you confirm it? I can only assume that if you had an outboard on the back and you had one oar, you could still scull the boat from the bow. So I need to make the doubler for that, but I need to mark it out. It just shows it on the drawing, but it doesn't actually show the dimensions. Now, I've held off putting any dimensions on because it's John Welsford technical property, so to speak, intellectual property. So, but in this case, I'm going to be marking it out to my dimensions. So I'm going to show the drawings, the drawing in a photograph when I've done it. So if you do build this boat, you can always copy my designer, so to speak. So that's what I'll draw that out next. Give it a go. We'll start off by marking the shape of the top of the bow. And we'll put our centre line mark on as well, top and bottom. I've got a mark there on the bottom of the bow on the 6mm ply. Okay, so just move that out of the way. Just drop this line down. Right, so I'm going to come down about 35mm. It's not very clear on that ruler, I've got some grout on it. So I'm going to go for a 60mm diameter. So I'm going to mark 30 there. We're going to mark down 40mm. Just get a weight. Now what I want to do is carry on with that 40mm strip around there, because the hole will go here. So we've got 30 plus 40, which is 70. And we can just use any shape really to put a radius in. Find anything to do that, makes life easy. And then perhaps we could use a washer, maybe one slightly smaller. What sort of distance would that give us? Yeah, I guess it's about 45mm. So I can cut this out now, cut that out in there, and that will be our template to go on another piece of ply. So then we can cut that out, and that'll be the doubler for the bow. I'm going to drill through the hole of the bow transom through this doubler here. I've got a 57mm hole saw. I know I've put down 60mm, but sometimes it's better to go under than over because a hole saw can sort of like wobble about a little bit. So that'll be fine. Also note, I've left some extra ply on the doubler here, because when the planks come up at the side, then we can trim those to suit later. I made a mistake on the transom doubler. I've done that to actual size, but I can always cut another one out. I've got plenty of spare plywood, so I can always cut another one out. So if you do these, don't do it as it is shown in the drawing. Do it oversize, and then when the planks go on, you can trim them to suit. Right, I'm going to saw this out. Right, I'm going to turn this over, come from the other side, and then any minor splintering will be this side and the doubler will be over the top, so that'll make a neater job. It can be cut out around there now quite easily. That's made a neat job, I think, both sides, because I'd already pre-cut into there. Yeah, take us that way. That's it. Great. Get that cut out now, and that'll be done. Right, I'll just finish those off on the sander. Okay, so we've got a nice shape to that, sanded it up, a bit of a chip there. So we lower that down now, line it all up. And cut this out now, and then it should pair up. So I've clamped them both together now. So what I want to do is just go in with the sander, so they're just paired up really nice around these radiuses here. I give them a bit of a run over. Yep, that's pretty good. Just give them a little rub over the sandpaper and they'll be fine. So now we're ready for a bit of a glue up now. So I've got the bow on here. I'm going to mix up some West Systems resin, get that mixed, and then start gluing the frames onto the bow. Then I'll do the stern, then I want to do the seat, and then do a frame. I don't think I'll get it all done in one hit, so I'll see how far I go. So I'll film it as I go along and see how it goes. So let's put some measurement in here. So there's one pump of the resin to one pump of the hardener. That's 3. I'll put another one in, that's 4. 5. So we need to put 5 of these in, because the perfect measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's quite it's quite pungent. That hardener is. It's strong smelling. Is that mixed? Right, so I'm just going to put some of the glue on here. I've got the hardener that I've got is more of a hardens at a slower rate, so it just gives you plenty of time. This is a bit of a first for me, so I don't know how it's going to work out. I've got some ice cream sticks here which I've cut off. I've saved these. So that's another top tip, isn't it? Just save them up when you've had an ice cream. I might put a little bit more glue on this one. The wood is absorbing it. you notice there, I've gone to try and keep it off there because there's a rebate for the pieces that will eventually go in there. Same on this side. Just do it up to the pencil line because that will be cut out later. And if you remember, the reason why I want to keep that in is because in case I need to clamp up at the top, so I may need to keep it in, I may not, but I'm going to keep it in just in case. I'll do one side at a time when putting the screws in. It'll be less of a handful, I think. Yeah, it'll be a little bit messy, but not so bad. I'm hoping that I'm efficient working the glue, as it isn't cheap. It's epoxy resin, it's quite expensive, so I want to be sure I'm utilising it the best I can. I don't know whether you can hear on the microphone, but the birds are tweeting outside. It's springtime here at the moment in the UK. Yeah, some nice weather now. We did have an awful lot of rain. Okay, so I can put that to one side, start working on the seat now. I've got a little bit of glue left over from doing the frames, so what I've done, I've put some of the 410 microlite, I've mixed it in with the glue as a filler. So all these screw heads, I can now just fill them in and just use the last bit of the glue. So start filling these up. Well, thanks for watching episode 3. Please like and subscribe. And in episode 4 we'll be looking at building up the transom. Anyway, my glass is empty, so it's time to get another beer. See you next time. Bye.